Hello folks, today I'm here to talk to you about what I worked on this week, and today I've got some Dungeons and Lasers encounters. So the last thing I have to do from encounters is the stretch goals box. I'll probably not do something with everything in this box, but I found it kind of to make an interesting challenge to myself to kind of make 4 little encounters from here, and that was my goal. I had very little time this week to work on anything. I basically put about 2 days into this, and I've mounted them on these little acrylic discs. I did have options for mounting on the bases that came with this, but I chose not to for now, and they don't have anything that's quite this size. One thing I definitely would recommend if they were going to do something cool in a future project is to start making bases that are like big enough to make a whole encounter like I'm looking at here. So I needed some kind of somewhere to start. It was just kind of a big box of things, and I decided I wanted to make an encounter for this Pulp Alley game that I want to do. And so I needed sort of a central character or a monster to go fight. So I've chosen this Spider Woman, and she's actually on some rocks. And what's funny is when she's on top of it, it kind of looks like a trapdoor spider. But when she's away, or if I choose not to position her on there, it's just a black hole. And I actually made all of these rocks and stuff out of styrofoam. I took styrofoam and I just kind of plucked it away with my fingers until I got it to the shape that I wanted. And then I went back over all of that stuff with acrylic paint and covered it. And then I did ink. I basically did the exact same process that I used for the ruins, which is like a light gray, then a light tone of light tone is what it's called, and then dry brush back some light gray over the top of that, and then sometimes I go in with some oil and kind of get into little cracks and crevices here and there. I didn't go too crazy with that on this one because the foam is a little bit different than the plastic, or kind of, it acts a little differently. And you also have to be careful. You can't spray paint foam. So you definitely have to paint it with just like a regular acrylic paint. And gluing it can be problematic too. So I painted it all the way around. So it's actually painted on the bottom. And in fact, something new that I haven't tried before is painting onto the acrylic. So I painted the bottom, but there's still sort of a shine across the top, which is kind of my big problem with all of these things. Like, I think it's kind of neat, and I like that I can place it anywhere, but it's a little shiny. But it also kind of designates an area, so I think it's fun to make these into like little waypoints or objectives, basically, for different types of games. And that was the thought process with all of these. So we've got this spider lady in her cave. She's got a victim here. Obviously, there's a person of some sort, like all cocooned in here. There's also some kind of random, like, looks like a trilobite fossil that's cracked open or something like that. So I just put it here next to the rocks to kind of fill it in a little bit. But that's kind of neat. So now, maybe she's in the jungle, or maybe she's in the desert, or, maybe she's on the moon. It's wherever you put this thing, it just those clear bases kind of instantly take on the coloring of wherever you're at, but also they're shiny. So the other thing I saw is that there was a whole bunch of mushrooms, so I decided to make a little mushroom area. So I took all the mushrooms, I painted them kind of different colors, and then I added in a couple of other weird plants that aren't mushrooms, obviously, but just other things maybe you'd find in the woods. It's sort of a dying tree. In fact, I've had this kind of random log that I'm sure it was a part of something, but I couldn't really find it. And I had this tree that kind of just looks like it was wilting. It was just kind of a weird little thing thrown in there. So I put it in the middle, and it's almost like the fungus is taking over in this area and causing mayhem and maybe killing out the greenery in that spot. The other thing I made was this thing. It looks like it could be an old monument, or some ruins or a monument, and it's got this little creature on the very top. It was also a place to throw in this weird little pineapple. What a strange thing that is. Little pineapple. I threw a little sign there because I figured that would definitely be like a monument or something that would mark a trail through the woods or something like that. So there's a little sign up there too. And some random vegetation. it's kind of hard to make a whole scene when there's when some of the pieces are so unique. All of these plants here on the back of this one in particular, they don't have a pair. There's not two of them or anything like that. It's just that. So it's kind of interesting just kind of throw it into a situation. So it's just kind of there, just kind of random vegetation there. I'm sure other people will paint that so it doesn't look like a pineapple, but I'm a big Psych fan, and we always joke to look for a pineapple hidden in things. So that's going to be my hidden pineapple. And my last little encounter here is the carnivorous plants. So this one, they had something that looked sort of like an Audrey 2 plant, and some vines that looked like they were kind of alive and out of control, and this other kind of smaller looking stalk. So I thought it would be fun to just kind of put all of those in one area. So we've got another monster here, sort of a carnivorous plant, or at least a very dangerous area that maybe would be difficult to cross over or something, depending on what you wanted to do. I'll be back soon with more videos. The Witcher has just arrived, or is about to arrive tomorrow. So I'll probably shift gears and be painting on that. This is kind of the last thing that I had to do for my my little Pulp Alley adventure. I actually have one more thing. I've got to paint the heroes. I'm going to paint up some fellas, and the Witcher guys, and that'll start next week. Until then, enjoy your games, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.